kill me until I remember.
Adam.
Dun, dun,
Oh, you're gonna
dun,
working with Adam. That's awesome too. He's a cool guy.
Adam Borg.
Yeah.
Is it good right
I
there?
was thinking of him.
Or I can screw for you.
Danny
No, that's no
Ornelas.
problem at all.
Danny Ornelas.
It'd be cool if it was higher.
Yeah, he's the one I was thinking of that I figured you guys would be working with, because I think he does cover all of the Houston area now, or maybe he still does. I may be wrong about that. But anyway, in Mastercam, the first thing you had to do before you started out in Mastercam is you had to know exactly where the center of rotation is along the B axis and the center of rotation is along the C axis. If you drew a laser line across the center of these two radii right here, and you basically
outward.
drew a laser line out that way,
Yeah.
think about the location where those two laser lines cross, right?
And that'll be 0.
Yes. So now you have to know that location for life. And then when you place your part on your fixture, you have to know where the part is in relation to that center of rotation. And in Mastercam, you got to set it up the same way. So you need me to wait for a minute, Dr. Vidal, while you set up the camera? Oh, you got it right. Okay, speak. So,
Red light's flashing.
So anyway, the first thing you had to know is where is my part sitting in space, because you had to go to Mastercam, you had to set your gnome, basically, your XYZ 0, and then you had to physically put the part in the right location. Otherwise, when Mastercam does the math for you, it'll never be right. And if you get it wrong, you got to sit there and play
backtrack
the part
it,
and
yeah.
just repost process over and over.
And that's
and
a
over
lot of
again.
time wasted.
The bigger pain in the butt is if you decide later, well, I need to change my fixture. So let me redesign the fixture. I need to hold the part better. And now all of a sudden my part's sitting a half inch lower or a half inch higher. And here you go back to Mastercam, repost it, and you better hope that you didn't make any speed and feed changes in your program, because you just lost everything. So now the importance of Mastercam making a perfect 100% post from that split second it's paramount.
That's
you can't live without it.
Concern is
Yeah.
Yes.
Drive you bananas, right? Well, you're going to enter the world of dynamic work offsets for 2 and tool center point control. Now, the reason why they call it 2 separate names is, and Mastercam's going to do this part for you, but it is 2 separate G codes that Mastercam's going to output. The first one, dynamic work offset, is actually made for 3+2 machining. So if we're going to position the part, do some machining on it, reposition the part, do some machining on it, but during the machining, the rotary table is parked in position. That's called 3+2 machining, and that's what G254 dynamic work offsets is going to be used for. Okay. And again, Mastercam's doing the work, but it helps to understand what it's actually doing.
What process is actually going on?
Correct.
That way we can manually do
now,
it later.
what's actually happening now, you are allowed to call the top of the part XYZ0, for instance, right? So if I'm machining around this block of steel right here, and I call the top of this guy XYZ, and I've got it sitting in this fixture, now every time when I have B axis flat and I have C axis flat, how about A? I'm so used to playing with UMCs. So when I have A and C at 0 and I teach the top of this guy, and then I start tilting my A axis, the machine is actually going to take that center point and it's going to follow it in space.
Right.
Mastercam thinks that I'm doing this with the part. It thinks everything is rotating about that XYZ 0. In reality, when I start moving the tilt, and my center of rotation is way down here, and the top of my part is way up here, you can imagine that the y-axis is getting dramatically changed as I start tilting this guy over. So y used to be over here, now it's way over here by the time that I tilt y. And on this particular trunnion, that's the biggest math that has to happen, is the a-axis tilt, which creates a major y-axis change.
Okay.
That's your biggest change on this machine. In the case of the UMC, it would be B and X, because B is in line with X. So, same concept. Now, tool center point control, which is the G234. I don't know how much simultaneous 5-axis milling you guys are going to do, not having seen any of the parts yet. But if y'all do a lot of simultaneous 5-axis, That's going to be a G234 that Mastercam is going to use. And the big thing with that guy there is that when you command the G234 and you command the A axis or the C axis to actually move in motion, X, Y, and Z is going to follow that motion.
Automatically?
Correct. In DWO or 3+2 machining, it's a lot simpler because we're going to tell the B and I keep saying B and I apologize.
B and X, I get
we're
it.
Going to tell A and C to move. The machine's going to know where that location is. But X, Y, or Z is never going to move until you tell it to do so. In G234, all you have to do is command B and C to move, and X, Y, Z
will follow.
So we can create some quick little sample programs if you guys want, just to show you how that'll work.
Okay.
But
we can use wood, aluminum. Children.
We could exactly. We'll show you how all of those moves are performed. We can also, if you guys want, I don't know how much real simple stuff you might be doing in the like writing some simple programs off the control itself. You know, a drill cycle, a mill cycle, something like that.
That's utilizing the conversational programming
Correct.
of the machine.
We can do a little bit of that, and then we can get into Mastercam. It just depends on how much you guys want to cover.
That'd be cool, as much as we can.
Much as you can.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a setup. Let's strap a little block of something up there.
Yeah, we got materials. What would you like, wood or
right
aluminum?
there, we can cut it into a smaller piece.
That'll work. Maybe 4 or 5 inch slice there. And throw a couple little clamps or something on it. 5 inches?
Yeah. That looks like you got it right on the top. There you go. You got sanding block?
Could use a buffer wheel.
Yeah, I remember that. That was great. We had when the guys came over here to set it up for us. They were missing 2 bolts, and I'm a car custom fabricator for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So they were like, "We need these bolts." So I grabbed some concrete lag bolts, walked right over there, and got it. I mean, so smooth that it pillowed in. It was just like, and then it finally went down the hole. And they were like, "This guy's a beast." I was like, yeah, I'm a beast. It was a good time.
This is why they pay me the big bucks.
Why they pay you big bucks, son? She's gonna take this too because she has the opportunity to work with us.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at this stage of the game, I mean, I'm 50 years old. I was 17 years old when I got started.
Oh wow!
All I knew was dirty parts in, shiny parts out.
Yeah.
I thought the coolant was soap. I said, coolest washing machine I've ever seen in my life.
Nice, love it.
And I learned one day at a time from there. I mean, you can literally start from anywhere
Oh yeah.
and
I
learn.
was pretty sure it was from the fly.
From the fly.
Teleporter from the fly.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah,
She
exactly.
kept looking for Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. I was working at a full-service gas station. Now I'm aging myself, right? But I was
Right.
working at a full-service gas station filling up a guy's tank, and he asked me if I wanted to be a CNC operator. I had no idea what he said, but what I heard was $2 an hour more than I was making.
That's good
I
enough.
normally hear too.
Yeah. Hey, we even have blocks of wood too. Look at that.
isn't a bad piece too.
Would you guys happen to have some smaller T-nuts? Here's the only thing about the rotaries. These are the standard 3/8 T-nuts that go into the Haas table. The rotaries have smaller T-nuts.
ones. I don't think so. Unless you think it's being here.
Just so that we don't eat up too much training time. If we have to, we'll cut air.
Yeah, we got wood too.
Yeah.
We got wood.
What I just realized that the T-nuts that come in the Haas kit, they're made for the table
Wrap up.
itself. Oh, but the T-slots in the rotary are a little
Yeah,
smaller.
you would know if we had more, wouldn't you? We don't, do we?
I figured that what he bought was,
Enough?
I want a device and they got the clamp set up. I would have got the device.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be. I can't make one.
Wonder.
Let's just make some real quick.
Bob. See, when you want to see this,
A lot of times, yeah. Depending on the part size, yeah. Now there is one option we have. This is where my bolt down from the center. One long stud if we got a stud long enough.
Okay. So would you recommend we get that 6-inch pipe done?
It's really the most universal way to do it, no doubt. Especially the little dovetail vice, like the Haas
yeah,
make.
it's got grips in it.
Yeah.
Towards the top where the barrel. Well, we already had these built in.
Yeah.
You don't even need barrel.
Correct.
Do you?
Correct.
It's a 6-inch self-centering vice, right?
Yeah. And the reason why the self-centering is so nice for the 5-axis application is there we go. Is because you know your parts are going to go in repetitively over and over again each time you put a part in
And then
there.
what?
Yeah.
You just set a stop up on the side of the vice,
Correct.
and you're good.
Oh, did you hear about that?
No.
You tell him?
I didn't tell him yet.
Okay.
We're gonna do this centering vice. I asked him, and the reason is now these T slots, the set is made for the table.
It's the actual nut, the key nuts themselves.
Dave said he ordered it for this. So going forward, we should probably get this set. I wrote it down. Self-centering vice. Okay? It would be easier, and he said for what we're doing, it would make more sense. I agree.
We're going to get a bit inventive, and this, what we're about to see, is exactly why DWO and TCPC
what we
work
could
so
do
well.
Is that if we bolt it from the
Now, what I wanted to see, I just want to make sure that once we get this done, it's going to clear everything.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
use it as a snap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also remember in the what I need to repair hands. Would you do me a favor?
Yep.
Hold this guy in
Sure.
I might need a taller. Yeah, we can get a taller setup here. If any of you enjoyed playing with Lincoln Logs as a kid, this is going to be your dream job.
Right.
I had a lot of
Is that you?
and jigger toys.
No, I custom made Hot Wheels.
So Lincoln Logs were. That's when you were 2.
Yeah, they were
By
way.
3,
Yeah.
you were.
At 3, I was taking those little cars that you put together with the big wheels and they snap together. I was putting 2 or 3 of them together.
To make big.
Yeah, to make something bigger, like a tow truck or something. Nuts. Now I understand why people look at me like
When it comes to fixturing,
say.
there's practically no such thing as bad fixture.
Practically no such thing as a bad fixture.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't wiggle or move, right?
Yes, exactly.
At all.
This is a lot of trial and error.
It's okay. You look like you're happy.
Yep.
He's in his spot.
Watch the brain work.
They're Pinky. They're Pinky in the brain, 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 brain. I'm in the nut. Dave's in a meeting right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Unless he slept through it.
No. He's literally, he's literally in the meeting right now. I was trying to talk to him like 10 minutes ago.
So, why did we order this then? If we have,
Because we'll be messing with some bigger stuff most of the time.
like,
And using that guy.
yeah, but I mean, in the house, it seems like, to me like we're gonna be using all axes. So,
Why not get the small kit?
Somewhat centered down there.
something that's
In the
designed
hole?
for that.
Yeah,
Enough.
He
Not.
probably
no,
wasn't
yeah.
aware, and
yeah.
all of his willing and knowingness.
Do you have a
Oh,
7/8
yeah.
wrench or a crescent?
He was. He's just being stubborn, you think?
I believe he has
Yes.
other plans.
That's not. Stubborn Dave.
Stubborn ass Dave. Alright, what do you got here? Right? As long as it doesn't move or wiggle. If it'll stay tight, then it's good.
Fixturing,
Right.
but the concept is the simplest. Get the part up there and make it stay.
I totally get that.
But literally there are, and you guys either already know or will know this soon, but there are 1 million ways to get the same end result.
Oh, that's how I got here.
Yeah. And as much as I love Mastercam, I've been a Mastercam guy. Now I use Fusion 360 a whole lot, just because some recent partnerships and things. And I've used Gibbs Cam, Esprit. I've used a little bit of them all. People ask me all the time, who's the best CAD Cam system? I would build my own and take pieces of every one of them because they all have their good and bad points. But Mastercam, sometimes they're a little bit bad about this in the training side. Obviously, they know their software inside and out, backwards and forwards. So they're going to show you how to make a surface cut, for instance, and they're going to show you 90 different ways that you can do it.
And you don't need
So
that.
all it does is you leave the class saying he's smart and I'm not, and you didn't learn anything. A lot of times I tend to take a different approach. I'm going to teach you one way that will work, but then I'll be sure to tell you this is not guaranteed to be the only way that you can do this. You're going to learn. You're going to learn the other 999
On your
ways
own,
as
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
100 ways to skin a cat.
Exactly. So what we've done here, we just threw a clamp through the center line, just enough to where we can have something that we could probe, something we can move around a little bit. I'm just kind of making sure we can free move this
No,
side
no
throughout the
interference.
travel.
Because it's good. You got ½ inch.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that I need to worry about. I was going to go here and also rotate my C-axis a bit just to make sure I don't see any issues there as well. Just making sure that nothing drags back here. I know I've got plenty clearance up top, so I don't have to worry too much about it. Just wanted to make sure I saw that closed corner clear all 4 of these screws.
That's why I went over there.
Before we start playing and I hear a thump and go, what was that?
That was money. That was money being thrown away.
Looks good.
So there's a lot of torque yield on those bolts, huh? You can really get down on them.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm the #1 guilty. I spent most of my life in the oil field industry, and in the oil field we tighten things.
Tightens
till they
never
break,
tighten
and then
enough.
We loosen up a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
That's how I normally am too.
But I have been known to stretch a few T-nuts and
Okay.
things like that.
I get it.
Oh, we have the doors on this guy. Good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about that too.
So fancy.
And then we moved this guy around a little bit, so I figured I'd go to 0. Now, so first things first, let's just say that we want to make sure that this guy's straight. Do y'all have an indicator? If not, we can use a probe.
We should have a couple of dial indicators down in here.
Yeah.
We have one, remember?
Was it the 6-inch that you guys got? Look at those little adapters, and they're color coded. Oh, it's so cute. I'm gonna take it home and name it Pebbles. Jeez, that's a little one.
That is a little bitty thing.
You see what I'm saying?
Is that a tense indicator? Or?
Oh yeah.
It's a tense?
I had him do a temp.
Yeah.
That's what I was used to use.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times you'll see me use a long travel to get close, and then the tense indicator if I need to get perfect.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a little harder to start out with a tense. You almost have to just look at the distance between the part and the ball.
And then go like that.
Yeah. And until you start getting a little closer.
So we're definitely gonna need another one, like a 6-inch or so.
Well, depending on what you're doing.
Oh, cool. No, that's not the same thing. Yeah, this is a dial indicator.
Oh my god.
You need more lights and jeweler's glasses? What do
I
you?
don't know, man.
Come on, Pebbles, work with us.
Should I move the camera towards
There you go.
Because
Yeah.
that was way better light.
Right.
Now, at this point, the only thing that's in the spindle is the probe, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Those are set up yesterday.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do with them.
Sweet.
Hope this fits around the thing. Better.
Think about that. Is this the only 3 holders you have right now?
I hope not.
Oh, that'll work.
Good?
Yeah.
Thank God.
That's because I got a second one.
And since this happens to be the biggest diameter MO, that's a 3/4, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, do y'all have coolant in the machine yet?
Yes, sir.
I was going to say the aluminum oxide coated end mills like this absolutely will be fine for what we do today. But if you start doing mass production with aluminum, I would recommend going to the aluminum end mills.
Okay.
There's the 3 fluted uncoated aluminum end mills. The only reason why these can be sometimes is because these are aluminum oxide coatings, and when you cut aluminum with an aluminum oxide coating, it wants to glue the shape.
Yeah, it wants to like whenever you try to sand aluminum, it gets caught all up in it. What do they call that? Smearing.
We've got tool number 1 in the machine right now, so that's what we're going to load. Kind of get this out of the way for a second.
Fantastic.
Now, for me to load this tool into the spindle, one of the best ways I recommend with the new Haas tool release piston setup is your tool release buttons right here. It is only going to work if you're in one of the manual modes, meaning the MDI mode, which stands for manual data input, or the handle job mode, which is used to manually move the machine around.
Right. That's what.
Have any of you guys taken the Haas certification stuff or
Not
looked
yet.
at our website on the training?
I have.
So-
I have.
I was going to say,
I only have
most
like
of the
1 or
time,
2 left.
If I've got a couple of days of training, if I got a long time to spend with people, I'll spend time going over the control. But in your case, what I'd strongly recommend you do is either in the Haas certification course, or if you go to our website, championscnc.com, and that's champion with an S at the end. We have an entry-level mill playlist and an advanced mill playlist.
Oh, cool.
And it's combinations of videos that Haas made and combinations of videos that I had made, kind of filling in the blanks where Haas left off for at least a little while. But we go through videos, and one of those videos, there's a great video on the control overview.
Okay.
We talk about the different modes, which is these guys right here, this vertical row, and the different display pages, which is these guys right here. And I'm saying that because as I'm going to do very little touching today, because if the operator touches it, he learns more. It's a lot more, muscle memory than anything.
Because I've already done the training
So,
videos, and it's not the same thing as
The
watching
quick
you do it.
overview is if I say go to the edit mode, the memory mode, the MDI mode, it's going to be one of these mode buttons. And also remember that when you're in a specific mode, this button is shaped like an arrow, because when I'm in memory mode, these buttons belong to me. When
Each
I'm
one
in
of those
edit mode,
groups.
these buttons belong to me. So everything is broken down in these different rows here based on the column of modes that we go to. Now you might also hear me say, let's go to the positions page. Let's go to the offsets page. That's these display pages right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to put a tool into the spindle, you have to be in a manual mode. And what I recommend doing is lining up the tool with the drive dogs and then basically pushing the button and releasing it very fast. It helps you align it a little better. And it would help if I'm in
Brought it
one of those
closer.
manual modes.
Yeah, right.
You'll see how fast I pushed and released that guy. The reason why, I have seen people engage the tool release and sit there and hold it and then try to stuff a tool in it and then try to let it go. And the whole time you're stuffing that tool in the spindle, it's trying to spit it back out at you.
Oh.
And sometimes you'll actually misclamp a tool and you'll know it right away. What'll happen is there's 5 little ball bearings that grab this backside 45-degree angle, and it grabs this guy and it pulls it into the spindle
the retention
with
knob?
about 2,500 pounds of force.
It'll rip
So
it right off.
if the ball actually catches the top edge right here, sometimes it'll look like the tool's in the spindle, but it's not in the spindle. It's down about
Too
an
low.
eighth of an inch or even higher. So that means the balls are sitting there. That's not a good place to be. If you clamp a tool that way, unclamp it as fast as you can, because if the balls make it their way to this guy, it's going to spit it out. It's going to spit it out the spindle at you.
Ew.
And nail your table, break the tool. No good things happen from that.
Understood.
Yeah. So what we'll do here, we'll set up our indicator. And I know that our B axis is flat, but we'll get ourselves set up where our C axis is flat.
It's wide on it too. Over our
Clear
heads.
everything, we'll just be careful. Now, as far as dynamic work offsets in tool center point control, I can set my C0 if I want to by rotating the C axis until my indicator's straight and teaching that as my C0 on my work offsets page, and we'll talk about that as well. But what you can't do, you can't set a B0. So if your fixture requires you to reset the B0, that's a different procedure. We'll show you how to do that too. It's in the rotary setups page of the settings page.
AC. Which one's B again? That's the table.
The C axis is the part rotating,
Right.
and the A axis is the part
Right, the
tilting.
swing. But you said B. Which one was B?
Sorry.
Ah, see,
B.
I'm listening.
I did it again.
Yes.
Good point. When I say B by accident, it's really A.
Okay. B is A. Thank you. I'll just think of ABBA.
I've been spending way too much time on
On those
UMC.
UMCs,
Yeah.
I get it. It's a universal.
So I'm going to use the remote jog handle, and typically the way you'll see me use the remote jog, I'll take it off of the handle, I'll press the menu button here, and I'll press the manual jogging mode.
Was it touchscreen?
Yes, it is. And this is going to allow me to move X or Y or Z based on the touch screen.
That's sweet.
And then based on the speed of how I want to move.
Increments.
Yep, the increments. So I can move, for instance, 1 thou per click. You'll very seldom see me go to 1/10 per click. But you'll see me move 1 thou per click, 10 thou per click, 100 thou, I better be really far away from the part for me to use it.